This is Bonyth over here versus Tengu down in the bottom right. Now, Bonyth, if you're a fan of foreign StarCraft, needs no introduction. This guy is one of the all-time greats. Always, top 2, top 3 foreigners outside of Korea. A little bit of a slower player if you watch him play, but his micro is phenomenal. He is Polish. Poland has always had just a plethora of really good players from the very early days even to now. Now, Tengu, if you've seen a lot of my YouTube casts, I've started picking him up more and more. This was a guy I actually kind of forgot was a pro gamer back in the early pre-StarCraft 2 days, because he was one of these guys very much in the background. Like, you'd have to be a hardcore Terran fan to really be familiar with him. But he's kind of a ladder monster now. He's been consistently rank 1 to rank 5 online, which is just insane with how active the Korean server is. And we're going to be on the map Apocalypse. This is a great map. I think especially in PvT it makes for some interesting games. If I could just reveal the entire thing. There's a lot of ways to run around. Pushes in the middle of the map. Also, you have the edge always staying back a little bit. Once you try to get into the middle of the map, you're going to be on the low ground, which makes it tough to push up into these high ground areas. So it does make for a pretty crazy macro game in PvT if both sides decide to go in that direction. Bonyth in this game is not going for a quick scout. Now, I want to point out a cool thing I noticed on this map, actually, from Mini, just while we have the downtime. Both this spawn over here and this spawn over here have your gases pointed at your entrance. So Mini, a lot of times, he'll just send his first probe out after Pylon and try to take either this gas or this gas for a gas steal against a Terran. We're not going to have it in this game, but I think about that every time I see this map, where I'm like, oh yeah, there's like a 50% chance you just steal their gas right away. Bonyth not doing that. He's going to go for a later scout. His probe's going to wrap around here into the bottom left and eventually find his opponent last. Now, with one SCV on gas, if you're a real beginner and you don't know this, that always means the Terran's going to expand. You need 3 SCVs on gas to do a 2-factory pressure build. Now, Bonyth isn't going to be able to find that because the first Marine is out here to drive this away. And so, it's going to be kind of an ambiguous game. Terran obviously is going to be able to get the scout up and see, that Protoss isn't doing any kind of crazy cheese, but at the same time, you really, haven't confirmed another a Nexus yet. Actually, what am I saying? I guess you could technically still cheese here as Bonyth. Because as long as you don't see this, then you can't know for sure the Nexus is going to be made. Bonyth with the moving shot here almost takes that SCV out. It's going to be the Dragoon instead that's going to come in here and close it out with the kill. Terran making that command center now. Whoops, my scroll's so fast here. I'm so sorry. And the first Vulture's being made. This is the most typical opening you'll see. The bunker's going to be completed. Normally it's 3 Marines. This time, Tengu is going a little bit greedy, but I guess it's not going to be punished because that SCV had to be scouted. And so, 1 Marine it is. The Vulture's going to slip right through and be able to scout around the map and check. Keep in mind, most maps you have a tiny ramp here. And that can block the Vulture from running in and killing workers. You don't have that on this map. So, that's definitely something you want to watch out for. The Robo begins over here now. And the add-on's done for the Terran. And it's going to be Spider Mines first. So he actually may not run inside the main base with this Vulture. If you're going to upgrade Spider Mines, you need to utilize the Vulture and where it's going to be hidden. A lot of times planting mines over here at the 3rd. I spoke too soon, chat. He's going to run right in, but mines is far from being done. He's going to try to run all the way around to the back. Does get 1 probe. Can he get a second one? Oh! Seems like the shot just didn't quite fire. 1 SCV is always enough to repair the bunker. And so the tank can basically come down here and gun down this Dragoon. So a little bit of a scuffle early on, but it's been a pretty passive game. We're seeing basically the most conservative and basic play come out of Bonyth for the time being. He's gone for 2 gateways. I don't see a third yet. He is making an observer, and he will probably be taking his third base as quick as he possibly can. Uh-oh. Ooh! Back at home for the Terran, we've got the armory coming here. Looks like these vultures are going to try to catch the next... Sorry, these dragoons are going to try to catch the next vulture. And I think this should be enough to get the kill. Oh, wow. Well, I guess I'll just corner it down here. Bonyth is a guy that's always amazed me with how good he is at having dragoons on the map. He just knows exactly where mines can and cannot be. Looks like he did lose one over here to the mine. But generally speaking, he's just so on top of it. So we've got our first observer about to come out. I guess Bonyth very aware that because that vulture ran in that early, he can easily make a nexus over here. So we will. Now, the most common way to play the game is to go for shuttles with reavers at this point in time. You don't have to, but you know, in most ASL games, that's what we see. He is going to come down now and basically do a siege mode check, but he sees that happen, so he backs up. But always a worthwhile move. This is a technique that basically forces an honesty check out of the Terran. Are you actually just massing up, you know, tanks and skipping a siege mode and playing unsafe? If so, the Dragoons will run in there and start to shoot down your tanks. Good cover there. Extra pylon at the last second to keep the probe safe inside this little area. We do have the robotic support bay as well. So there'll probably be 2 zealots made out of these gateways in a little bit here, and the Reaver will be inbound. Typically, we see it is robotics, or shuttle speed, and then the second gas is taken. Back here, we have the Wraith made. This is also a pretty solid way to play, although you do end up not feeling great if they don't get a shuttle at all. But even with a shuttle with speed, a Wraith can actually moving shot kill the shuttle. So, I mean, that's pretty good, and this has caused a lot of Protosses to not engage early because you're just going to get hit so hard. Now, the Observer's going to see the Wraiths, so he won't try to you know, push the envelope with that. But he can scout with this later on. Keep in mind that there are no scanners here for the Terran. There is an academy coming down, but basically, you're just trying to get as much out as possible here. Could you have died to DTs going across the map? Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the reasons why we see some of these players just do a 2-base DT rush, like Nexus into just, you know, double Dark Templars and walk across the map and win the game, is because so many times Protosses are just too greedy. Meanwhile, we've got an attack in over here. 1 Dragoon goes down. This Vulture isn't able to quite get around to the back of the minerals here where he could have done a lot more damage. By the way, I believe this early forge has only been prompted here because he saw the Stargate and the add-on come down. Oh, meanwhile, what? Dude, it's not every day you see this. So he's going to continue to try to do as much damage as he possibly can. There's a scare I'm going to hit. It does. That's huge. So I believe the reason why Bonyth went for that is because he saw the vultures on the other side of the map. When you see the vultures out like that, then you just know that there's nothing that can actually really cover these tanks the same way. And it was only you know, 2 Marines in here. So kind of a scary moment. He tries to get off some damage. Honestly, Tengu defends pretty damn well. 4 gates, now 5 coming. I imagine a 4th base is going to be constructed soon. Back at home for the Terran, I mean, there's no command center. There's no command center, it means there's going to be a push sooner rather than later. So the shuttle scoots back again. And as long as these Dragoons cover the shuttle, you're going to be basically fine. But it is a little bit scary. So the 3rd base has started. I said a second ago there had to be a push soon because there's no 3rd command center. So this is what he did. And I think the reason why Terrans are playing like this now, it can be a little bit confusing if you're used to some of the older games and some of the older days. Actually, even 5 years ago, a lot of Terrans would rush out and get a third really quickly. But, you know, when you watch what's happening here, this is basically mass shuttle proof, which is what a lot of people were doing earlier on. They'd make like 3 shuttles and fly into the main and just dump everything on top, you know, of the turrets, try to kill SCVs, and then fly back out again. So this is a pretty conservative way to play. You're really investing in a later game. By the way, Terran has, yeah, +1 done. We have 2 armories here. And this is all, honestly, like hyper modern play. Not just like, oh, like this is kind of the typical of, this is like exactly what people are doing as the standard meta on both sides. A delayed third base with double armory. And Protoss going into additional shuttles. We see that being made now. Getting Psystorm. Getting Templars. Excuse me. And in this case, doing a pretty light contain. You can see now, the gateways are going to be thrown down here. Zealot Charge is about to finish, along with +1 attack. It's a little bit hard to get Vultures out, although we see a few are out here now. And then the Protoss is going to get the 5th base up. So tempo-wise, this is looking, you know, like a pretty solid game on either side. Note the mines over here. Wary of a possible mass shuttle drop. Storm drops have been growing in popularity. By the way, the single Stargate could be Arbiter. It could still be Carrier later on. Hold on. Hold the phone. We got +1 air attack. It's going to be Carrier. So Protoss was at about 70 probes before those Vultures got in there and got the kills. By the way, if you're not sure if your opponent's going Carriers or not, you don't have to find the fleet beacon. You can just scan here, and they're definitely not getting Dragoon range this late in the game. So if you see that, then you know that it's going to be Carrier tech. So the idea with a lot of this is Terran can't get a 4th base, at least not on this map. So what you want to do is try to fight them, contain them, slow them down, and as you trade out supply, because Bonyth is pretty soon going to be maxing out, you slowly replace that killed supply with Carriers. And you can see he's got the 4 Stargates coming down here now. Although I don't see the fleet beacon. There's the fleet beacon over there. Now, here comes the push in. He's going to do a huge storm right over here. Oh my god, this is so good by Bonyth. This just completely destroys. You know, not every day do you see an opportunity like that, but I think Bonyth's setup is so good with the Reavers over here, and knowing the bulk is probably going to come up here, he basically just melts that entire set. Beautifully done here by Bonyth. He's going to get his 3 cannons, actually even 4 cannons. And I would imagine in a second here, we're going to see these Carriers start. There it is. Soon we're going to have the 4th Carrier. The lights are going to start flickering inside the Stargate. And so, yeah, the Vultures really can't get much done here. Terran is now down to 107 supply, although 2-1 is done. Do we have another shuttle being made here? Not yet. So, another scan. Note that there are still the Templars with the shuttles. Goliaths, when the Terran, you see the Terran get the Goliath range this early, it's to try to snipe the shuttle. Once you see that the Goliaths are shooting that far, you need to back up and not ever engage with them the same way. Like the Templar drop we saw earlier, if the Terran had the Goliath range up like that, it would have just been shot down. So Terran's in a really bad situation. We have 4 Carriers about to come out. 8 Carriers, if you get that in total, which would just be 2 rounds of Carriers out of each of these Stargates. A lot of times that's almost too much to deal with when you're this late in the game. And if they get another round, that's 12, which is just a comical amount of Carriers here. So what is Bonyth going to do? He just slightly backs up. He doesn't want to overcommit. And I gotta say, when I watch players like Bonyth do this, he makes it look so easy. If you watch my stream, I'm always struggling in games like this. There's so much to do on both sides. And he just backs up again. Now, Terran's expanded down here. This is really important. You really can't let this happen. And the push is on. Sometimes we'll see Protosses try to storm, run away, and basically just play keep away, trying to eke out damage over and over and over. But I don't see that shuttle moving. Now it's going. Okay, some pretty damn good storms. He does end up trading out 2 Templars. But look, I mean, these Goliaths are pretty damaged. The tanks are having a hard time advancing. Oh my god! Templar gets shot down. He's going to go for another drop here. Oh, huge drop there. We've got more Templars coming in now. Now, when you see the Zealots disappear, that's usually when you have to turn around. Dragoons are not great at soaking siege tank damage, but I guess at the same time, if you can just gun down the few Goliaths that are over here, it's going to make all the difference in the world. So we've got the 4 carriers out. These are actually... I have one that's not making. I believe they're actually... Can I select on an interceptor to find out? Yeah, +1. So +2 is just around the corner. This is bad news. And we're about to go up to 8 carriers. +2 attack, +1 armor for the carriers is coming as well. Bonyth backs up, does a macro round. And we have another Protoss base coming down over here. No workers there yet. It's kind of been a crazy game. Are these gateways mass producing? Yes, they are. And really, Dragoons and Templars are kind of the thing that can protect the, what do you call it? Like, they can cover the carriers versus the Goliaths. Now, the one thing that's not going for Bonyth here is that he doesn't have a lot of gateways here. But I don't know that he could have had more gateways based off the carriers he has. It's a little hard for me to say. So you got to be careful. A couple Goliaths can take on carriers, but Bonyth's control is probably the best outside of Korea. So he does some damage. He pulls away. We have... Okay, he's up to 8 now. He's also getting an Arbiter, which I love. No reason to not just do that. Just have one Arbiter into the mix. Make the Terran scan. It's already hard for the Terran to actually reach the carriers ever. It's even harder to get them to ever connect shots when you're having to scan constantly. So this push is going to be stopped. I mean, there's just nothing else to say. Okay, he picks that off. These carriers can now go right over here towards this 4th base. Meanwhile, Protoss has a pretty healthy army. Kind of looks like a PvZ army. But that's the what you're getting these days, especially once you go post-carrier. So now he can send these over here. And he's going to try to move in here now. And I got to say, I mean, this is looking pretty bad. You want the carriers to snipe the tanks if you can. You take out just the few tanks that remain, and the Goliaths cannot fight the Zealots and Dragoons. They just can't do it. One Zealot down here. This is always a good idea. In the chaos, just chuck a Zealot down here. See what he can get done. Even in a moment like this, maybe even run away. See exactly like that. Just buy time. You can watch these big fights, but sometimes it's just as important to watch little things like this. This is literally just shift-clicked for a few moves here. And he just knows that the guy can't go back to mining. Now we've got an Arbiter. Or Artosis calls these Carbiters. He says he hates, he hates fighting Carbiters. Carrier Arbiter. And, you know, I think the Protoss has done a really good job with the balancing act here. And so he's going to try to push in. Oh, no, he's not. He sees the push coming out, so he wants to try to come in here from behind. Here comes that attack now. We don't have quite enough for a stasis yet. This spread is pretty insane. Thing is, I just don't think the Goliaths are actually in numbers that are going to be capable of fighting this. I mean, this is 5 Goliaths. I'm sure there's more coming here now. But these tanks are going to disappear literally in seconds. And now he can come through here and just clean out these tanks. I mean, this is pretty brutal. Now, that being said, the Terran is continuing to grow. If I could be critical of Bonyth for a second, I mean, he could have sent a DT here or, you know, just a few Zealots over here. Something to buy time. But, you know, that's always easier said than done when you see somebody microing carriers. Carriers are so micro-intensive. Like, you'll really get more value out of them the more you use them. He's back up to 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 carriers. Plus 3 is about to finish. Plus 2 should be about to finish as well. Yeah, he's going to get the second armor here. No shields as far as I can see. Oh, but they're coming. And Terran is massing Wraiths. Oh, my God. Is there an observer here? Oh, dude. He's going to lose all these if he's not careful. I was wondering, when I didn't see that many Goliaths, I was like, that's strange. Is he getting Corsairs? No. I don't see an observer. And the Wraiths are on the move. Cloak should be done. Okay, hold on. He scans and he sees that there is absolutely no obs here. He gets 2 carriers. He's going for 3. Arbiter comes in. He'll just kill that off. And, that was sick. It didn't even occur to me you could do that. Oh my God. Well, this is kind of weird because, like, the Goliaths are here now. Is this even actually good for Protoss? I mean, I guess it's better than not losing any carriers at all. But he's going to send his ground army down here. Dude. Well, okay, this is actually going to work out really nicely here. Do we have an observer? We're cloaked. There's no observer. Here he comes. Observer inbound over here. Oh my God, he gets another one. He's going to storm it. Oh, God. All the carriers are going to die. 3. Oh my God. Now a Terran push is coming down here. Oh. And the Protoss is kind of stuck. Protoss comes in here for a flank. What is this game? Oh my God. There's so many Dragoons stuck down here. Is he making more carriers? He's going to start over. Wow. Terran again with his 4th base. It's paying in dividends here. Okay, so I think this is actually going to work out because the Dragoons are just going to kill the last tank. And Goliaths as a standalone are just never that good versus anything ground related. All right, we've got the Templars coming here. A great storm on top of those. Another perfect storm. You know, you can think of these Goliaths basically like they're Hydralisks. Just try to chuck some storms down. Carriers coming out again. Oh, more carriers. This is 8 total. That magic 8 number is back. Were Wraiths ever remade? No, he's abandoned that tech. So we're kind of back to square one. By the way, we are running out of map here. This map is eventually going to have no more places to expand. Only here, which I guess we could give to the Protoss, and only here, which I guess we could give to the Terran, can be acquired. So, Terran's coming out once more. Now, this is a much smaller Terran army, but you have to remember the Terran units, when they're 3-3, are considerably better than Protoss units at 3-3. But carriers can be microed pretty nicely. Storm is your friend always in moments like this. Storm doesn't really care about the upgrades. Here we go. Storm's coming down now, right in between the tanks. That's going to be it. Protoss wins that. That was actually a fantastic game. I love the moment where we saw the stasis. I know that you can do that, but like in moments like that, that doesn't occur to me when I'm casting. Like he's going to actually try to catch the wraiths. Very cool game. You know, that style that we saw from Bonyth, if you want to try that out, and I'm not talking so much about getting carriers in the end game. That's always been there, but the speed shuttle with Reaver, then into Storm, I think it's a great way to play the matchup, to try to slow the Terran down and take as much of the map as possible. And then the closing, killing move is really to have so many carriers, there's nothing they can do. But you got to watch out for those wraiths. Always have one observer right-clicked on your carriers, and sometimes even have like a second one off to the side, a screenshot away, if you know the wraiths are coming. You can also get Corsairs in those moments. You don't have to. Really, if you can see the wraiths, you'll kill them. But Corsairs are another surprise move, and then you even go into D-Web. It gets to be a lot of fun. Very cool stuff. Thank you so much for watching. This shirt that says "Get Good Scrub," you can get this in my merch shop along with a ton of other cool stuff. Shirts, notebooks, hoodies, all that. Like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, share it, all the YouTube stuff. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in a future video. Bye-bye.